everyone, so today's video is another video in the Hachette Disney crochet series. Completely lost my train of thought then. Didn't know what I needed to say at all. Really sorry. So today's issue, we're moving on to issue 33, which is the Jungle Book Jungle Bouquet square. So obviously I haven't done it yet, you can see from the colours in front of me, but from this one it looks like we're making 4 different squares and then we're joining them together at the end, which is obviously something that we've done before for other squares. For this square you need 6 different colour yarns, so we've got the sunflower, the paprika, the white, coral, vanilla and sage green. And I do know that we are starting off this one with the vanilla on our hook with a slip knot, so if you go ahead and put the slip knot on your hook, we will get straight into it. So you can see here I've already got my vanilla yarn attached to my hook with a slip knot, and our first instruction is to make 5 chains. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. We're then joining with a slip stitch into our first chain that we made to make a ring. So if you need to, you can count back 5, or if you know where that original chain is, just go straight into that one, pull a loop through and then pull that one straight through the one already on your hook, and then you've got your ring. So this is round 1 and we're chaining 2, 1 and 2. We then want to do a treble into that ring. So for a treble we're yarning over, pull that ring apart on either side so you can find your center, and then you put your hook into the middle, pull up a loop so you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over and pull through 2 again, and you've done your treble. We then want to chain 2, 1 and 2. We then need to do a treble 2 together into the ring. So yarn over, into the ring, pull up a loop and you've got 3 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over again, into the centre of the ring, pull up a loop so you've got 4 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over again and pull through all 3. Chain 2 again. Another treble 2 together, so yarn over, into the ring, pull up a loop so you've got 3 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over into your ring, pull up a loop so you've got 4 on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 2. If you look at your magazine on round 1, it will tell you how many times you need to treble 2 together, followed by your 2 chains. So if you do all of those, I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've trebled 2 together followed by 2 chains the amount of times that it says under the instructions for round 1. You can see I've just done my last 2 chains there. The last instruction for round 1 is to do a slip stitch into our first treble. Now remember, those there at the beginning that we did were chains, so that's not our first treble. Our first treble stitch is this one here. So we want to go into the top of that one, pull through a loop and pull it straight through. And we can then fasten that one off. We're going to be working with yarn B next, which is the white, and we want to join it to any of the spaces. So it's any of the 2 chain spaces in between the treble 2 togethers that we did. It doesn't matter which one you use. So my white is joined to one of the 2 chain spaces, and once you've got it on your hook, you need to chain 2. 1 and 2. we need to treble 3 together in that same space that we've just done those chains. So I'm yarning over and going into that space, pulling up a loop so I've got 3 on my hook, yarning over and pulling through 2, yarn over again into the space, pull up a loop so you've got 4 on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 and you're left with 3 on your hook, yarn over again, back into your space, pull up a loop so you've got 5 on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2, you're left with 4 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through all 4 loops and you'll end up with a petal shape that resembles this one. We then want to chain 3. So 1, 2 and 3. The next instruction is to treble 4 together into the next space. So yarn over into our next space, pull up a loop so we've got 3 on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You'll be left with 5 loops on your hook. You can then yarn over, pull through all 5. We're then chaining 2, 1 and 2. I'll show you how to do that one again. So yarn over into your next space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into your space and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. I've got 5 loops on my hook, so I'm yarning over, pulling through all 5 and then chaining 2. If you repeat that for each of the spaces going around, I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've done my last treble 4 together. I've then chained 2. We want to finish off with a slip stitch at the top of our first treble 3 together. So we had chains there, and you can see there's a stitch here that's quite large, and it's quite large because it's like combined all of these stitches below together. So that was our first treble 3 together that we did. So we can go in through that V and do a slip stitch. I don't know if everyone else's is curving up, but mine kind of looks like that at the moment. I'm hoping a bit of blocking or sort that out, or hopefully adding the next few rounds on will help as well. So we can actually fasten the white off now, and we're moving on to round 3 for the next round, and we need yarn C, which is the sage. So we're joining the sage to any of the spaces in between our petals again, putting that one onto our hook and then chaining 3. 1, 2 and 3. We then want to do 2 trebles into the same space that we've just joined our yarn to. So for our treble, yarn over into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, a treble again into that same space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then pull through 2 again. We then need to do 4 half trebles into the next space. So yarn over into the next space, pull up a loop so you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over and pull through 3, yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, and repeat that twice more into that same space. and then you've got your 4 half trebles. We're now going to start building the corners of our square. So into the next gap, space, whatever you want to call it, we're doing 3 trebles, 2 chains and 3 trebles. So yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 and pull through 2. One more treble and we've done our 3 trebles. Then chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 more trebles into that same space. So there's 1, 2 and 3. We're then doing 4 half trebles into the next space. So yarn over into your next space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. Yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3. And then twice more into that same space. 1 and 2. And you've done your 4 half trebles. We now need to repeat the corner pattern into this one as well. So we're doing 3 trebles, 2 chains and 3 trebles. So into this one, and we're pulling through 2 and 2 again. Yarn over into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I've done 2 trebles and I need to do 1 more. There we go. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 more trebles into that same space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Continuing with what we've already done, it'll be 4 half trebles into the next space. So there's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and now we need to create another corner. So it's 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. So pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and my last treble, pull through 2 and pull through 2. We then need to chain 2, 1 and 2, and it's 3 more trebles into that corner space. So there's 1, 2 and 3. 4 half trebles into your next space. So pull through all 3 loops. There's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and now we're back at our original starting space. So into that one we want to do 3 trebles into that space where you've already got the stitches in. So into that one we are doing 1 treble, 2 treble and 3. You then need to chain 2, 1 and 2, and we're then joining with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. So you've got your 3 chains here, just go into the top of those and then you can slip stitch that one, and you can now fasten that one off. And that is how the squares are made, and we need 3 more. They're all different colours. So if you follow the pattern that I've just given you, go back to the start of when we started them to make the rest of your squares. I won't be making each one on camera because they're exact repeats. They're just with different colours. So if you do those, once you've got your 4 squares, I will be back to help you sew them together and then to add our border. So as you can see, I've finished my 4 squares and I've laid them out in front of me in the order of how they've done it in the magazine, I guess. So, I mean, you can do it any way you like, I guess, because it doesn't matter, but that's just the way they've done it in the magazine. So it's the way that I've laid it out. They have actually sewn the squares together rather than crocheted them. So I'm going to do the same, but you can just crochet a line down and a line across if you wish. I mean, I don't know why they haven't crocheted it, because obviously this is a crochet magazine, but that's up to them. So we're starting with the top 2, and we need to put our, let me just check the instructions again. They say wrong sides facing. So if we've got the top 2, we're putting the back sides together. Actually, one comment I will just make before I continue is that I have sewn all my ends in of the squares. I think there were 6 ends per square. So with 4 squares, trying to put them together and put the border on with 24 different threads hanging down would have got really confusing, and they definitely would have got in the way and got caught up. So I thought it was far easier just to sew the ends in whilst I had the break in the video of making these ones. So top tip is to go ahead and do that now. So back to what I was just saying, sorry. Put your wrong sides together. So basically your back and your back of those 2 together. I want to start at the top right corner because I want to go all the way down. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that top left one down, and we want to join the yarn to this one up here. You can go in through the corner, you can go in through the stitch. I don't think it really matters too much. I'm just going to tie that one to ensure that it stays. Okay, so now that I've got that one attached, I'll put those backs back together again, and I'll turn that so I've got the sides together that I want to sew. This is pretty much like the other squares that we have joined together before, so I know you know exactly how to do it. So I'm going in through the stitch opposite and just pulling that one all the way through. And then what it wants us to do is to go through the V's for both. So I'm going to go in through that corner and pick up that corner as well. So if you just continue with that, going all the way along, picking up both V's on each side. Make sure not to get your non-working tail involved. Do that all the way to the end, and I will meet you and show where to go from there. So I've joined all the way to the end, and if you open that one up, that's what it looks like. We now want to join these 2 together, but there's no point in fastening this one off and then adding these ones. We may as well add them all in one long go. So if you put the back sides of those together as well, and it'll be this corner here that we want to join on. So I fold those up again. I'm just going to pretend that they're joined just for now. They will be. We will do that shortly. So for now, I just want to go into the top right of this one and the top right of the one on the other side and pull that one, and then it's then joining those 2 together, and I can continue along and do the same thing that we've just done for this side. along this side as well. So go all the way to the end, and then you can actually fasten off, and I'll meet you for the next step. So once you go from one end to the other, you can see I've got both ends there. It will look like this. So it's joined all the way down the middle, but it's still not on the sides. Be really careful, because I just noticed mine look like that. And if I'd have gone straight ahead and sewn from side to side, I would have had a back facing and a front facing. So make sure that it's the right way around. We now need to join our yarn here in the middle of the top and the bottom square on the right, and we are going to do exactly the same thing as what we have just done with the sewing, but sew along the middle and then fasten off, and we will start the border. So my square is now fully joined together. As you can see, there's no separation between either of them. And I don't know if you've noticed, but it helps to explain in case you want to do it again with future projects. Where we have gone through both the V's, if that makes sense, if I just put those together, where we went through both stitches on this side and both stitches on that side, it creates like, we're basically lifting this up. And what that has done is created that raised line. So you've got like a line down and a line across where we've just done the stitching. So I think there's other squares that we've done. I can't remember exactly which ones they were, but we edged them using the back instead. So that would make sure that we didn't get the line down the front. And I do actually prefer it without the line, but that's how they wanted us to do it on this one. So that's what I've done. Because if you turn over, obviously it looks completely different across the back. There's no line there at all because we have moved that to the front, if that makes sense. So if we'd have done it the other way, then it would have just looked, God, sorry, my cat's been in my bedroom, so I've got like cat hairs everywhere. So yeah, as I was just saying, if we'd have done it the other way around, it would have ended up looking like this on the front, and there would have been no raised line on either side. And I actually much prefer it that way, but this is how Hachette wanted us to do it. Anyway, we now need to do a crochet edge going all of the way around. So I have already joined my yarn to my top right corner, and I'm just going to attach that one to my hook. So once you've got your loop on your hook, you want to chain one. Then we're working in double crochet for this round, so we want to do one into that corner space. So putting our hook through the space, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through both. We then want to double crochet into each of the next 10 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now that I've done my 10 double crochet, we now need to do what is called a decrease stitch, and that is written down as a DC2 TOG, which is a double crochet 2 together. Now we need to do that because we've got too many stitches going along, and obviously our borders have to be all exactly the same amount of stitches for when we join our squares together. So I'll show you how to do the DC2 together. So you can see you've got the corner of this little square just here. We're going to put our hook in that corner and pull up a loop. So we've got 2 on our hook. We then want to go into the corner of the next square along. So the corner is just here. I'll go into that one and pull up another loop. So I've got 3 loops on my hook. I'm then going to yarn over and pull through all 3. I'll then continue along with another 10 double crochets into the tops of the stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. In the corners of the main square, you need to do 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet. So 1 double crochet, 2 chains and 1 double crochet. We're then going to continue with this pattern along of 10 double crochets, and then do your decreased stitch in the middle with the DC2 together where you're joining your 2 corners together, another 10 double crochets, and then in your corner it's 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet. So I will meet you at the end of the round. So I'm back at the beginning of the round. Into the corner you want to do 1 double crochet. I'm then doing 2 chains, 1 and 2, and you want to finish off by doing a slip stitch into the first double crochet that you did. You can then go ahead and fasten that one off. We're going to be doing the border next using the white, so you can join your white to any of your corner spaces. When you join on your white, do realise, I know it does look like it, that those large gaps there aren't our corner spaces, because that was the round before the last round that we did. The round that we just did is this line along here, this quite short one. So your corner space, and it will be difficult to find because I can barely do it. There we go. It's just in there. So where you've done a double crochet there and you've done a double crochet there, we did 2 chains in the corners. So you need to try to find those 2 chains. And that's probably the best way to do it, is to putting your hook through the back in your corner spaces and see where you can lift it up. So you can go ahead and join your white there now. Now, for all those that have followed my videos before, you will know that I adjust the size of the borders depending on the size of the square, and I normally show you both ways of doing the border, like according to the magazine and using the real one, and then also doing a smaller version if we've got a larger square. Because I've done that in all the videos, I'm hoping by now that you know the difference in between the two. For example, it's only a different stitch. I'm doing the exact same amount of stitches. Because this is a large square, I'm going to be using a shorter stitch, whereas the book tells us to use a larger stitch. So just as an example, obviously we've got a really, really big square here, and we've got a smaller square here. So the border on this one is your standard, I think it's half treble crochet that we normally use for the border. So that is how it should be. But then other squares, like this big square, I've just done a smaller stitch. So it's exactly the same. I will sort of describe it, what I mean as I'm doing it, but I'm not going to show the full thing for the whole border because it just takes so much time and I've got lots of videos to make. So I've attached my white. Now, if I was doing the standard size border here, I would chain 2. So 1 and 2. And then I would half treble crochet. So I'd go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 3 for a half treble. Because this is a large square, I'm not going to do that. So I've got my yarn and my hook. The amount of chains that we do at the start of a row are depending on the height of our stitch. So where I just showed you the 2 chains with the half treble crochet. That's because 2 chains is the same height as the half treble crochet. Now obviously, like I just explained, we're going to be doing, or I don't know if you're going to do it as well, because you might have found that your square is a lot smaller than mine, in which case you can use the standard border. Mine is really big, so I'm doing a smaller or shorter border. So I'm doing a smaller stitch, so I only need to chain 1 because 1 chain is the height of the double crochet stitch that we're going to be using. I hope that's not too confusing. Just follow my instructions if you don't understand, but I can't think of any other way to explain it. So, border. We want to do 1 stitch into the corner space, so whether you're using the half treble crochet or the double crochet like I am, you need to do 1 into the corner, and then you need to do 1 in every stitch along. I'm not telling you exactly how many there are because I'm not giving the full pattern away due to copyright, but I will do some with you. So I'm doing the double crochet. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I was doing the half treble crochet, it would be exactly the same, just the different stitch. So when you get to the corner, I will show you what you need to do. So I'm at my first corner where I'm doing 1 double crochet, 2 chains, and 1 double crochet. So continue with your border. Remember, it's depending on which stitch you're using, it's either the half treble crochet or the double crochet all the way along, and your magazine border instructions will tell you exactly how many stitches there should be. Remember, we need to make sure we've got the exact amount that it says in the book / magazine, because when it comes to sewing the blanket all together, we want a certain amount of stitches on one side, certain amount of stitches on the other side to be able to join them together properly, stitch by stitch. So I'll say that again, sorry. So do your stitches all the way along. In your corners, it's 1 stitch, 2 chains, 1 stitch, and by that, if you're doing the half treble crochet, I mean 1 half treble crochet, 2 chains, 1 half treble crochet. If you're doing the double crochet like me, it's 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet, and I will meet you at the end. So I'm back at my first corner, so I'm going to do 1 double crochet into that corner space, or half treble if you're using the half trebles, 2 chains, and then finish off with a slip stitch into your first stitch if you can. Apparently I can't. There we go, all done. Fasten that one off. There we go, that is that square all complete. Don't worry too much if you have dips on the sides, because when we come to blocking the squares, or to be honest, it doesn't even need to be blocked, when they're all sewn together, obviously they're going to be stitched to another square either side, and that's going to pull that out. So as you can see with mine, there isn't too much of a dip there, just a tiny sort of slight one. So I'm not overly concerned. It will be absolutely fine once I have sewn it to the blanket. There's a few squares that I might end up blocking though, just to make sure that they're all the right size. Obviously that will come in a later video. So there is your Jungle Book Jungle Bouquet square from issue 33. Well done on that one. I think it was an interesting square. I'm not too big a fan on sewing sort of different squares together, but I did enjoy the different ways of forming the petals in the centre. I thought that was quite interesting to do something different. I hope you enjoyed this one too. As per always, my normal spiel. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. if you want to leave a comment below, I'd love to hear from you. I still want to know what people's favourite squares are. I want to know if you enjoyed this square, if you didn't enjoy this square. Let me know where you're from and where you're watching from as well, because that's always cool to find out. And as always, what I say in my videos, if you want a notification for when the next square is going to be posted, please do hit the subscribe button, because that's the only way of finding out straight away, because I have a really terrible memory and don't always post in the Facebook group straight away that I've done it. So hit the subscribe button if you want your notification when they are posted. And I guess I will see you in the next video. I've got the instructions beside me. The next one will be issue 34, which is the Mickey and Minnie Popcorn Daisy Square. So I will see you for that one. Have a wonderful rest of your day.